Hello, thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. For this cycle, I guess you would call it, I'm going to use the Awaken Tarot. I haven't used this one in a while, but I do like this deck. I think it was created like a group effort because it's got team, I always mess up the name, RYVE, so Reeve. And there's myreeve.com at the bottom if you want to check that out. So that way if you like this deck and you want to check it out, feel free to do so. There's that. The Oracle cards I'm going to be using are Energy Oracle cards by Sandra Ann Taylor. Big fan of Sandra. And the website, that's why I got the book out. Websites are, am I on the right one? Yep, there are a bunch of Hay House websites. Feel free to freeze frame and go into any of those you're interested in. Sandra Ann Taylor, I think there's something on the back here too, so I'll show you that. Feel free to freeze frame and check out any of the information. I think there's a website at the bottom, or there's a Hay House Radio link there or something. And the last part is I do use dice. For the major arcana, I use a 22-sided dice. I use 22 as 0 for the Fool, and then, up to 21 is the World. And then I have a 14-sided dice for the minor arcana, and then I use a 4-sided dice to choose the element. And Math Art Fun, I think, is what the website is. If I get that close enough, hopefully you can see it. mathartfun.com if you want to find the dice. Alright, I think we're good with that. Of course, if you'd like a reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and now let's go on to your read. Hello, Pisces! Thank you very much for tuning in to this week's read. These readings are valid for whenever you come to them. That being said, what do we have for Pisces? You had some jumpers, so we'll see what that means later. Seems like it's a good thing. I'm almost wondering if there's a delay. That's my first thought. But is that something that has been delayed and is now coming around, or is that something that's going to be delayed? That's what I'm wondering. So we gotta get there first. One more. Okay. Sorry, I gotta move some of this. I didn't realize I had that in the way, so there's that. So, something's been stressing you. The moment isn't quite here yet, is what I'm also getting. So I do think when I'm getting the delay energy, I feel like maybe it feels like or should have showed up by now, but there's definitely a delay here. Something going on with the delay, something that it almost feels like, for example, if you were going to start a fall semester for whatever, it's kind of like I'm skipping that and I'm starting in the winter for the spring semester, if that makes sense. Is that how that works? It's instead of starting in September, I'm starting in January. That's how this feels to me. It's almost like not really my ideal way to do it, and for some reason certain things aren't going to be offered, but I will be able to catch up. And I can still start and maybe catch up to what I want to. It feels like that, there's that gap. I should have started in September, but since it isn't starting, the next time around is coming in January, and I feel like that's how this is going. It's kind of like it's coming around again. Not that it has to be, literally those months, but it seems like something has been, it's either has been or is being delayed. There is stress about it because I feel like it's kind of I'm overthinking this situation. I feel like I am overthinking this situation because I feel like, I'm in a rut and I feel like I'm way too familiar with this rut and I'm getting really paranoid maybe. Careful with that. Paranoid or concerned in the sense of I've seen this happen to me before. And if I don't step up or get myself up and start moving, it's going to move right on past me before I have a chance. And I feel like there's anxiety with that. I don't want to miss it, but I'm having a hard time grasping it. I feel like what they're saying is you're not missing it. It's just not in front of you right yet. Maybe that's another piece of this puzzle. Because it feels like I'm missing it. I'm going to miss out. I'm not going to get this. I'm not going to be able to grab this. It's going to pass me right by. That's the point they're making with you're not. it's just the next time around hasn't showed up yet. It's coming though, and you're feeling it. Be kinder to yourself if you're driving yourself crazy with that. Be kinder to yourself. Lately, because I love to say this, sooner or later, people who watch know I'm going to say this. I'm a Pisces too. One thing that I've been using is, like, I think they call it the 4 breaths. It's the 4 breaths. You breathe in for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, you breathe out for a count of 4, you hold for a count of 4, and you just keep repeating that. It's a version of a meditation. I don't remember the actual name of that meditation. That might actually help. Something worth trying. Worth trying if you want to. The energy here is like it's weird because you're on point, because you know you want to be ready for it. You are on point with this. Like, you know you want to be ready, and that's a good thing. The challenge is, I feel like what they're saying is, like, don't beat yourself up about it. Give yourself a chance. Realize the boat hasn't left. Ironically, the boat hasn't shown up yet. Your boat hasn't shown up yet, because I feel like I'm looking at a dock, and I'm like, I'm afraid I'm going to miss that boat. And they're like, well, that's not the one you need. Don't worry. Your actual boat has not shown up yet. Don't worry. Okay? But you're very on point with it. You're like, yeah, but I want to be connected. I want to pay attention. Like, you're trying to be extremely responsible with it is what I'm getting. Like, I don't want this to be another thing that's just passed me by. I want to grab it. I don't want to miss it. And I keep getting this energy pushing back, like, yeah, it's not here yet. We promise. It's not here yet. You're not going to miss. Be kind to yourself. Keep moving forward. But don't like traumatize yourself thinking that you've done something wrong. You haven't done anything wrong. Keep moving forward. That's good. Keep working on it. That's good. Keep trying to improve things. That's good. But don't beat yourself to a pulp over it. Good? Because you are actually, I feel like they're giving this energy of, like, you are doing well. It's just you might beat yourself to a pulp before you can actually succeed. They're saying, please don't do that. Please don't beat yourself up. That was it. Because you are on the right track. You are doing well. You are responsible. You are responsible with this. So I don't know if there's a question with that for you, or if somebody's giving you a hard time. Could be an external thing where somebody's giving you a hard time. It's not the time for things to come together just yet. Things are working out. When I see the Justice card here, there's something with that. This is the current energy. No, there's something there. I keep wanting to hold it. Okay, so the Hierophant's trying to come into power. It's not quite there yet. It's coming into phase. It's got to kind of make its turn. Then the King of what? The King of Fire. The King of Fire is pushing on this. Something is unstable here at this situation at the moment. If you jump forward too fast, you're not going to miss out on your actual boat, but it's almost like I get on the wrong boat, and then for some reason it doesn't go very far, or it's like we just go across the river and back, and it's like, wait, that's not what I was looking for. But it's kind of like I feel like that's what it's telling me. It's kind of like justice is on your side. Even if you end up, for example, right now, pushing forward too fast, it's not going to last, but the point is, because the right one isn't here yet, you'll still be here for the right one. So don't be worried that you're, like, moving forward too fast. Or kind of like if you're, like, having some anxiety, like, yeah, but how do I know that this is for me? Like, what if this is my right boat? What if what if I should move forward? You can move forward. It's just kind of like, if I'm getting this analogy of, like, the boat going across the river and coming right back, and you're like, well, what was the point of that? The point is you're still here ready for the right boat. If you get into that trap where you, like, I move a little bit ahead and then it's over, don't feel bad about it. Hopefully don't feel bad about it. Because it's kind of saying it's not bad. It's just kind of like, no, that wasn't the right boat for you, so it brought you right back. But you are, stay in connection with yourself, stay in connection with what you want. The boat is still coming. The boat is still coming. So you don't have to, like, if you're kind of, like, worried, like, yeah, but what if this is the one? What if that boat is my boat? You can try it. That's fine. You'll just end up back here at the right time. Don't worry about it. There's a lot of anxiety here. You're, like, very stressed. You're like, I don't want to fail at this. I don't want to fail at this. This is really important to me. I don't want to fail at this. So you're holding it strong. That's fine. Just please don't traumatize yourself over it if you can help it. I know that's a lot to ask, because it's kind of like if anxieties and stuff are kicking up, it's hard. BetterHelp.com. I don't have any affiliation with them, but like if you look for it, there's a few of them out there a few people. If you look up BetterHelp.com on YouTube, I feel like you can find a few people who have like discount codes. I don't know if Connor Franta, was he one? Katie Morton, I want to say. But that might help you out if you're having issues with anxiety. People who are trained might be able to help you navigate that in a more effective way for yourself. Contract hasn't shown up yet. The door hasn't opened yet. Okay, so these fall out upside down. What I love about these, even though they're upside down, is like it's not that it's not here for you. It's just like it's gotta come. It's gotta like the door has to open, and I feel like things at this point, if you go for the wrong one, you know what I mean? If you go for the one that's not going to serve you the best, let's use that. It's not, it's almost like it's almost like signing up for like a house, but then it falls through before, like the deal falls through before you actually get it. So I don't feel worried about that. They're saying these doors will open for you. It's just like they're not quite here yet, but they are coming for you. Yes, they are. There is some help here. Whatever part of the universe works for you, but I get like there are good things coming. There is some spiritual backup to this, in case you're wondering. I feel like if you want, I don't know how people feel about this, but like usually there's like a spiritual team around each of us who are here. They're looking out for you. They're trying to do what they can. You are paying attention more than you realize. You are very receptive. You just might not realize how receptive you are. It's easier when you're kind to yourself, when you're nice to yourself. It's easier for those messages to come through. Keep that in mind. So moving forward, we'd like to do that. The energy is like, I want to like, I have this anxiety energy that I keep feeling like I want to move forward. And I think it's, natural to this read. But I'm like, all right, let's chill. Let's try to do what we can. Somebody else is going to bring forward this opportunity to you. Somebody else is going to bring this opportunity forward to you. So the Justice card comes again. Three of Swords reversed is like more, it depends on the reading, just to be fair, but what I'm getting here with what's coming up next is like healing past disappointments. Healing past disappointments, and whatever connection that means for you. It may be things in the healing the past disappointments in the sense of like either you feel like you're responsible for something that you're really not, and you're seeing it in that different light, or you're realizing all the times this went wrong, I learned something every time it went wrong to show me my success in the future. It's kind of like, you do something wrong, maybe like if you want to look past in the past, some of you maybe can look back and like you have 5 different relationships you thought were going to work out, but you learned something from each one to like help you and strengthen you, and like now going forward you're like, okay, I already know that's not for me. I see where this is going. I actually don't want that. This one over here, I'd like to believe I can believe in them, but I can't. This one over here, actually, they've been through the ringer like me. I feel like we kind of like we can talk this out and we have a chance to like work this out and like work to the next level. This one that's showing up, not only do I not really have the same worries I had before, but they seem to understand what it's like to go through this. And we can talk about it. And there's a chance this could actually be worth working through. And even if it doesn't work out, as long as we keep this communication on an honest level, we shouldn't be traumatizing each other or creating new baggage. At the very least, this could be a connection I can keep for the rest of my life. I don't know if it's going to work out for the relationship level that I want, but this has an honest chance that where we could be good to each other. We could be good for each other. I don't know why we're going there, but we're going there. Somebody's bringing you an opportunity. It doesn't have to be romance, because I feel like I was gearing it that way. The Lover's card is popping up. It doesn't have to be romance. It could be business, could be anything. Whatever works for you, whatever it is that it needs to be. Remember, this is a general read. Because somebody's bringing this forward. And ironically, part of the problem when they bring it forward is they don't know what to do next, but they want to. This is usually an energy that moves forward quickly and tries not to overthink it. But ironically, it was also like kind of stuck and not sure what to do next with the situation, because they're like, I've been through the ringer in this type of situation, and I don't want to go through the ringer again because that's very uncomfortable and I don't like it. And I don't like it. So when this comes forward to you, I feel like you're very happy to help. You're very happy to talk about it. I don't think you're gonna like I don't see you making this decision by yourself. But there's advice for like when this decision, somebody's going to bring you something, there's going to be a decision that needs to be made is what I'm getting with this. And it's a very good moment, something you very much want, something you're very happy about. The trick is to not get caught up in the past too much. Yours or theirs or whatever the situation is, not to get caught up in the past too much. What they're saying to do with this, instead of looking at the past, don't look at the past too much because you've changed. And this situation is not a carbon copy of the past. So let's remember, one, you have changed. You've changed. You've evolved. We all evolve. We're all continually evolving. What they're saying to do, look at what you have learned and look at what you're able to work at and go towards the energy of healing. So it's like, I'm going to use a relationship thing. It doesn't have to be romantic. Could be friendship. Could be coworker. Maybe there's people in the past that maybe you've had differences of opinion issues with, where you just didn't see things eye to eye. Maybe you did argue. Maybe you didn't argue and you didn't like how they talked, but you just kind of didn't say anything and it just grew and grew and grew till you just didn't want to be around them anymore. Could be something like that. Could be something like that very easily. You've learned how to work through these things. You know how to do these differently. It's kind of like, for me when I was younger, especially like early 20s, I didn't tell people when I was upset. I just kind of like choked it down. And knowing who I am, especially now at this age, it only lasts so long before it's coming out one way or another. I'm going to say something sooner or later one way or another, whether I like it or not. I've learned that the hard way. So it's kind of like, okay, I've learned, like, when you notice this, you notice something like that happen, acknowledge it. Doesn't mean you have to start a big conversation about it, but you got to acknowledge it. And if it happens again, you got to put in a little more effort into like, all right, this is happening again and I didn't like it the first time. I'd rather we didn't do it this way. And then it's just my way of handling it. The third time it comes around, it's like, all right, listen, we need to talk about this or this isn't going to work for me, depending on what it is. It's kind of like, that's like, realize like what you have control of, what you have evolved forward. And I'm just using myself as an example. Again, in my early 20s, I was about 30 years ago, almost. Not quite 50, but I'm just like knocking at the door. Back then, I don't know. I just for some reason just didn't say anything. I just thought it doesn't matter enough, and I just choked it down and just tried to ignore that it was an issue. Told myself it was fine. And again, I learned the hard way after a few different episodes of things. Like, I will say something. I definitely will, whether I like it or not. So learning how to deal with things differently, and now that I'm older, I'm like, all right, I know this. I know I don't like this. And if I try to tell myself or if I try to pretend I don't like it, this isn't going to be good. I need to acknowledge it to some level. It doesn't have to be a big deal, but I have to acknowledge it. And then the second time it comes around, I'm like, all right, I need to acknowledge it again, but I have to put a little bit more gusto into it. And then the third time, if it happens again, I'm just like, all right, now we really need to have a talk about it because this is bothering me. I don't like it. I don't think this is how this should be happening. That's just my way. I'm not saying that's right for anybody else. But like they're saying, remember that the past is the past, and you have learned from it, but you handle things different, and you work differently now. You've learned how to handle things differently. All right, so what's this stuff? You're going to stay on the table? Okay. There's going to be a moment where whatever the situation is, could be romance, could be a friendship, could be business, could be anything. Whatever it is for you, whatever hits and makes sense for you, it's going to have this moment where things are kind of stuck. On the dice, I got the Hanged Man, the number 12. That's how I read 12. And we're stuck, and then I got the Two of Swords reversed. It's kind of like we gotta unstick things. Things are going to have this moment. So, for example, I'm going to use myself again. Something happens, I don't like it. And I'm going to, like, in my brain, I'm going to be like, you have gone this, you've done this before where you haven't said anything. You need to say something, and you know better. So I'm going to say, I'm just using myself as an example because I have that moment where I'm just like, you can try to not say anything and see where that goes, but you know where that goes. So that you need, even though you don't want to, you need to say something. So there you go. So I use that example of like the 3-time thing. You don't have to go by that. So like they're kind of like showing me this in my own light, whatever you want to call it. I don't need to wait for the 3 times. The first time it happens, I can create a peaceful conversation right off the bat about oh, this kind of triggered me, and this is what's happened in the past, and like it just reminded me of that, and just like it's not something I can jive with. So it's like passive aggressive digs. To me, a passive aggressive dig is kind of like when somebody talks to you and they're talking about, for example, digging a hole or like creating something over here, and you're helping them. They're like, the term I don't like is like when somebody says, well, let's not be stupid, let's make sure we put everything in the right place in the first time around. I don't like it when people do that, because I feel like that's like a passive aggressive, like how far can I get away with? It's kind of like when somebody says let's not be stupid, it's kind of like they're using that word, which is a trigger word for me, and it's also kind of like how far am I going to let them use that word? And at first it seems like it starts off there, it's not directly at me, it's like indirectly, because they're saying let's, like they're including me with them, like both of us, as if both of us could be stupid. And it's like, that's one of those things, like, it may seem very minimal, it may seem like, oh, it's not a big deal, but it's kind of like, I can like, oh, yeah, I don't really like that term, or like, or I've kind of turned it around, I was like, well, I know I'm not, but if that's what you have to do, that's not a good way to handle that, but I've done that before. Like, when somebody says that term, me going, well, I know I'm not, but if you need to be, that's your issue, or, if you want to term yourself that way, like, I've maybe had bad responses to that before, because I've been triggered. It doesn't have to be a negative moment. It could be like, you know what, I don't really like that type of, like, don't rope me in, the way I bring it forward now is like, you know what, don't talk bad about yourself like that, and, don't rope me into it. Like, that's, like, I wouldn't say you were stupid, it could be a learning moment, but definitely don't rope me into it, and I'd probably bring that into it. That's a peaceful way to bring it up the first time without letting this go any farther. That's the devil card showing up, because it's like it's already giving me anxiety because I don't like doing that. But again, I've learned well enough that like it's either deal with it now or wish you did later. That seemed to be my thing anyway. Doesn't have to be a horrible moment, but it's better to be dealt with. Again, they're saying realize you've learned whatever you need to learn. This can be a lot easier for you. When this comes around again, don't hold too strongly to the past. Work on what you want the future to be. Realize you have healed. Honor your own true feelings, and you can have this moment. Whatever this is, it's about you standing strong to your self-loyalty. Even if you end up in a relationship, it could be a romantic relationship, whatever it is. Even though that could be the case, you still have to have that self-loyalty where you speak your mind, and you can create what you want in this situation. Maybe not all Pisces, but it feels like a lot of us Pisces, if we end up in romantic relationships, we tend to assimilate to the other person just without even thinking about it. Be aware of that. If you have done that before, it's probably gone bad. I'm just saying probably, not guarantee, but like think of that when things are going forward. You got to be able to stand on your own. You got to have your self-loyalty. Speak when you need to speak, and be careful not to assimilate to other people. And if you do this well enough and you like listen to your own inner voice, you should be able to not only get the success this time, but keep it, because of your inner loyalty will help you keep it. I hope I made sense with that. All right. I'm going to shut this down here. Hope that helps. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James the number 4, astral@gmail.com. If you're interested in the donation information, that's below. Same email. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.